Hello and welcome to Digital Health Technologies Module 3, Lesson 4, Finding and Assessing Online Behavioral Health Information. The Digital Health Technologies course has been developed by the Grow Our Behavioral Health Workforce program of the Center for Health Innovation. Purpose. The purpose of this lesson is to acquaint participants with core principles for finding and assessing online behavioral health education materials. This lesson covers search strategies, reliability of health information, misinformation and its impact on public health, and links to several reliable sources of consumer health information. Learning objectives. Students who successfully complete this lesson will be able to use effective search strategies to find behavioral health information, identify and discuss 5 criteria for assessing credibility of health information on the web, recognize the impact of misinformation on public health, and become familiar with 4 websites that provide reliable consumer health information. Keywords from this lesson include Boolean operators, disinformation, health literacy, misinformation, and search engine. Lesson outline. This lesson contains 5 different sections. We'll begin by discussing about online health information. Then we'll turn to some search strategies and learn how to find information online. Then assessing online health information, misinformation in health, and finally, reliable sources of consumer health information. We'll conclude with the lesson summary, and as always, don't forget to check your understanding with the self-assessment quiz at the end of the lesson. You may take the quiz as many times as you wish, but you must receive 80% to continue on to the final portion of this course, the course summary and pre-test and post-test. Section 1, about online health information. Online health information. You can turn to online sources when you need more information about a client's condition, best practices in your discipline, or health in general. As a paraprofessional, you can give vetted, reliable, trustworthy information, but not medical advice. So a client who has an existing diagnosis, if you have a reliable source of information about that diagnosis that's been given by a provider, you can give that reliable information. Clients may be looking for information online. You may need to help guide them to reliable sources. As we know, there are many unreliable sources, and we'll talk about that later. Not all online health information is reliable. That has been shown time and time again. Online health information navigation requires health literacy. Health literacy is the ability to find, understand, assess, and act on health information. Finding information means you need to be able to find it in the huge mass of everything you can find in a search, not only a Google search, but perhaps you need to do a search of the deep web. So finding, and secondly, being able to find the information you need within a particular document or other material. Understanding health information is a core component of health literacy. To be able to understand the language and the words that are often used, and the terms that are often used to describe health issues, which may not be familiar to everyone. Assessing that information includes assessing it for reliability and for usefulness. And finally, the information is of no good, really, if you can't act on it. So health literacy requires all 4 of these stages. So let's start with the first stage, which is finding information. search strategies for finding information online. Few people search the web methodically and well. It's definition time. Search engine. A search engine is a website that collects, organizes, and categorizes information. Google, Bing, Yahoo, and Dogpile are some common examples. Conducting a simple search. I'm going to assume this is a review for most people, so I will run through it quickly. To search, open a web browser such as Firefox, Google Chrome, or Microsoft Edge. Place your cursor in the address or location bar. Click, then type search engine. Press enter. A list of search engines will appear. Click on the search engine that you would like to use. A search box will appear. It'll be an empty white box. Type in words that describe what you are looking for. Separate words by commas. For instance, if you are looking for information about equine therapy that accepts Medicaid in Las Cruces, type equine therapy, comma, Medicaid, comma, Las Cruces. The comma groups the words equine and therapy together and Las and Cruces together and separates Medicaid from those phrases. Press the enter key. A list of websites will appear with a short description below each site. Click on the site or sites that interest you. Conducting an advanced search. Definition time. Boolean operator. Boolean is a set of commands that can be used in almost every search engine, database, or online catalog. The most popular Boolean commands are and, or, and not. Note, when you're using these terms as Boolean operators, use all capital letters. This is the result of a search for teenagers and alcoholism. As you can see, you're only going to find certain things that are kind of in the middle here of this section where the Venn diagram overlaps. You're going to find a whole bunch of material about alcoholism and a whole bunch of material about teenagers. But if you type the and in there, it's going to limit your search results to this small section through here. Second way of using a Boolean operator, teenagers or adolescents. To get the or, you're going to find that everything in here and in here is included. So you're going to get the entire shaded area. So if you type in, if you don't want to miss anything about adolescents because somebody used the word teenagers, you don't want to miss anything about teenagers because somebody used the word adolescents, that's when you would use the or, and you're going to get this whole section. Boolean operator, anxiety, not depression. This is going to separate out, and you're not going to get any of these results, but you're only going to get the results under anxiety. So that's just a quick visual on the results that you'll get with the use of Boolean operators. Here are some other advanced search tips for you to try. Use a wildcard. An asterisk is like a joker in a deck of cards. It can stand for anything. Try CHIL asterisk and see what you come up with. Use a minus sign to indicate words you do not want to appear in your results. It's kind of like the equivalent of the Boolean operator not. Place the minus sign immediately before the word and place a space before it. For instance, if you wanted to search about headaches but exclude migraine headaches, you could type headache space minus migraine. That will give you the results for headaches that are not migraine. It's also kind of cool to know about some of the special syntax in your searching. If you type calculator into Google or almost any other search engine, automatically the first option will be for you to enter a mathematical problem. So a calculator will basically come up. Track packages will give you the chance to type your tracking number. Weather. Type weather, then the name of the city or zip code, and you'll be there. Unit conversion. Simply type in the height, weight, and volume, 6 kilograms in pounds, and a converter will come up. And of course, sports scores. Type the team or the league name in the search bar, and the scores from the latest games will come up. So after you've found this information, what do you do with it? How do you know whether it's something that's reliable enough for you to believe, for you to pass on to a client? What are the key things and indicators you should be looking for as you're assessing health information? First of all, start by assessing a website. Use the About Us page for reference. If the website doesn't have an About Us page, then that's an immediate red flag. Here's a need to know. You should always be able to find information about who runs the website. If it's not clearly stated, usually on the About Us page, be suspicious. And here are the 5 questions you can ask to decide whether the website is trustworthy. Number 1, who owns the site? Number 2, how is it paid for? Is the site paid for entirely by ads? Is it paid for by perhaps a group that might have some political or other aspirations? What is the purpose of the site? If the purpose of the site is to sell you something or to do anything else but provide health information, then that's a huge red flag, and I would not trust that. Who's responsible for quality? Who reviews the materials, especially in the world of health? Is there a board, an editorial board, that's responsible and signs off on health-related materials? Are they qualified to do so? And finally, does the website have a privacy policy? A privacy policy should let you know exactly how any information you will enter will be used. And this is especially important for sites that have discussion forums or other ways to collect your information. 4. Misinformation in health. We just talked about assessing online health information, assessing websites, and yet we know that misinformation is rampant, especially in the world of health. So how can you protect yourself from the misinformation that could lead you down the wrong path? Definition time. Misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is false information that is spread, usually by online sources or via social media. It can be intentional, called disinformation, or unintentional. Or something can start out as disinformation. For instance, we know that there were certain bad state actors that planted a lot of disinformation about the COVID-19 vaccine, such as if you get vaccinated, you're going to grow a tail like a monkey. And there were some people who were gullible enough to continue to spread that, but they were spreading it as misinformation because they really believed in it. So the line can be a little bit fuzzy. However, it's important to know that there are some bad actors out there that are purposefully spreading disinformation, especially in the realm of health. Misinformation is a growing problem in today's media in general, and especially in health. The COVID-19 pandemic has triggered an infodemic of misinformation, and we'll speak about that just a little bit more on the next slide. Misinformation, 5 things to know about it. Intent creates the difference between misinformation and disinformation. So if your grandmother shares a post that's incorrect on social media, on Facebook, and it lands up in your inbox, it's not necessarily disinformation. But if somebody purposefully goes out there and says, I know this is not true, for instance, Clorox is going to cure COVID or prevent COVID, and that is purpose, and that is still sent out, then that's disinformation. This is an important piece that has just happened in the last couple of years. Healthcare professionals who post or share health misinformation, especially about COVID-19 vaccine, can lose their licenses. So be careful what you share. 12 people are responsible for 65% of the anti-vaccine misinformation on social media. In 2021, U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, MD, issued an urgent advisory about the misinformation, calling it a major threat to public health. Indeed, it has proven to be so. And there's nothing that shows more so than the spread of misinformation during COVID-19, which the World Health Organization has called a dangerous infodemic. So as misinformation spreads widely, people no longer know what to believe. They no longer know what actions to take to protect their health. And vaccines have been the target of misinformation for many, many years, and that has absolutely accelerated during the COVID-19 pandemic. A little bit more on misinformation as an infodemic. It is so rampant and so widespread that it has earned this name of infodemic. Definition time. The World Health Organization defines an infodemic as the spread of false or misleading information in digital and physical environments during a disease outbreak. It causes confusion and risk-taking behaviors that can harm health. It also leads to mistrust in health authorities and undermines the public health response. So misinformation such as, masks cause harm, or misinformation such as vaccines cause harm, or even misinformation as in the pandemic is over, don't worry about it, can cause a tremendous uptick in cases and cause a lot of harm. 5. Reliable sources of consumer health information. By this point, you're probably wondering where in the world you can find anything that you could pass on to a client and call it reliable. Well, the good news is there are many good sources of consumer health information out there online. And I'm just going to give you some information about, I guess there are 5 of them in this list. And the important part that I want you to see is that these include an association, a medical association, the American Psychological Association, which includes quite a bit of consumer content. Remember, we want it to be understandable, so if you're giving it, reading it yourself, giving it to a patient or a client, you want it to be something they can understand. So you don't necessarily want to be sharing journal articles or very difficult professional articles, but the consumer health information is what you're looking for. Medline Plus is the gold standard for consumer health information. It is a tremendous resource. It provides information about almost every medical and psychological information issue out there, and so it's always a go-to place for any client. The National Institutes of Health, likewise, is a great source and has more and more consumer-focused information available in plain language. NAMI has, again, a tremendous amount of information specific to mental health and well-being. And finally, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, has a set of consumer materials at the address Public Messages. So all of those sources are good, reliable, and I would keep this list handy. Use it as your first go-to if you're looking for information about any topic in medical or mental health. And note, association, government, nonprofit, government. Generally, there's some for-profit sites that are quite reliable, but most of the time you're going to be wanting to look for government or nonprofit sites for reliability. Lesson summary. Health information is widely available online. Your clients are probably relying on online sources of health information, and you may find yourself helping them navigate the often confusing array. The skills to find, understand, assess, and act on health information are called health literacy. Most people search the web all the time, but few of us search it methodically and well. Search engines can help you find the information you need. A search engine is a website that collects, organizes, and categorizes information. When you're assessing a site for reliability, ask the following 5 questions. Who runs the site? How is the site funded? Is the main purpose of the site to give you information? Who is responsible for the quality of the health information? And does the website have a privacy policy section that explains how the website uses your personal information? Misinformation is false information that is spread, usually by online sources or via social media. It can be intentional, called disinformation, or unintentional. Misinformation is a serious and growing public health problem. There are many good online sources of information about mental and behavioral health. Some are private and some are run by the federal government. Know the 5 that we've listed here. Let's take a moment to reflect on tech. When you visit a website looking for health information, how do you know whether to believe the information that's provided or not? Now that you've read and listened to the material in this lesson, what will you change about your approach? Take a few minutes to reflect, think. Again, you don't need to turn anything in, but jot down a few notes, discuss with someone close to you. Just want you to pause and think about this question. The Digital Health Technologies course has been developed by the Grow Our Behavioral Health Workforce program of the Center for Health Innovation with funding from the Health Resources and Services Administration. This concludes Module 3, Lesson 4, Finding and Assessing Behavioral Health Information Online. It is the final lesson in this course. Thank you for your participation. Please proceed to the course summary and post-test after you've completed the Check Our Understanding quiz for this module. Thank you.